All right, I'm on the dynamic positioning system here, guys. As you can see, nice, steady and secure. This is really, really smooth compared to outboards, potentially a little bit more elegant if you are looking for a system to do some close quarters maneuvering. Outboards work great. Arguably the V12 600s work better than the 400s because they do the steering down in the water. The whole unit's not steering, as opposed to a 400 where the whole engine is steering back and forth. But yeah, so there is an argument for some of you who want to do some tender operations, close quarters operations, and even just luxury day boating for IPS as opposed to outboards. But as it always is, you do you, and just watch these videos, soak up the information that's right for you, and that's great. That's the whole idea. So we are going to go for a drive now and take you through the rev range, talk about some fuel flow, talk about a few speeds and some trim settings. We do have wind, but we are in a relatively protected part of the bay just here. So we may or may not encounter waves. I can't guarantee it. We'll just see what Mother Nature delivers up to us. Just had some wonderful fish, by the way, cooked by a Venezuelan bloke at the Tiki Bar. And this guy in the background sailed all the way here from Spain. He's an Austrian bloke. You might be able to see him rebuilding his bowsprit with the electric planing sander. It ran out of battery, so he came in for a beer. How cool's that? He's off to Patagonia. Fantastic. I love adventures, so good on you. Anyway, we're here to talk about the V44. So, IPS 650s, plenty of fuel in the tanks, currently consuming 10 litres per hour at 1,040 RPM, giving me a 6 knot speed through the water, just navigating to make sure I'm clear of the rocks, and I am. And from here, I'm just going to get the boat straight up on the plane. I'm starting with trim tabs down, and I'm just going to commit to it. Because a boat like this, I think you really want to get that speed. Did you feel those turbos or hear those turbos just kick in then? It is noticeable. Woo! Love that sound. And now up through 17 knots, and 18, and 19, and 20. I'm consuming only 113, now actually down to 105 litres. Now we're settled in and onto the plane at a steady 24.5 knots. That feels good. With a bit of trim down on the tabs, my attitude over the bow is quite comfortable. My speed at 24 and 25 knots is really good, and the fuel flow just keeps dropping. That's cool. So, time to accelerate, put it through a gentle turn, raise the trim tabs a little bit, and increase our speed. I'm seeing 150 litres consumption now. 150 litres consumption and 28 knots. Getting exposed to a couple of waves. And what I might do is actually take us through a few fast and fun turns through some of those waves. I'm now doing 29 knots, 3,300 RPM. So, she's gracefully coming through these turns in a yacht-like manner at 31 knots, consuming 150 to 140 litres an hour. And it feels a lot more graceful with the inboards compared to the outboards. Just going to come through that turn now. But before I do, increase our speed ever so slightly. Down waves here a little bit. Beautiful. A little bit of swell. Looking out for fishermen. Looking out for anyone who's going to get in my way. No, we're pretty good. 29 knots, 140 litres consumption, 3,260 RPM, coming back into the wind and waves now. The boat's chopping it up nicely. I can see over the bow. Yeah, she's got big boat vibes compared to the V34, compared to even the outboard version. She just feels a lot more graceful in her mannerisms. I think that's down to some of the weight forward. I'm trimming manually with the Lenco trim tabs just here. I'm just cruising in my high 20s right now, 130 litres total consumption there. So the fuel flow is quite efficient. I'm hovering in those low 3,000 RPMs, and we're just going to cut through a gentle turn now. Bang. Right. Visibility's great. At times, on acceleration, you lose a little bit over the bow, but I'm feeling good. I'm going to go a bit faster this time. How good? This is my job. I love this. How can you complain? It's been a long day, but I'm certainly not whinging. This is great. 33 knots, 3,500 RPM. The boat's just starting to come into her own now. Trimmed out, feeling good, consuming 160 litres, not too much of a fuel jump. We'll see if we can really make use of that with the wide open throttle now before we get into the waves again. And 35 knots of climbing, 36 knots of climbing, trim going up, waves on us pretty soon, 36 knots, 37 knots. It's going to give a little bit more trim, see if that does anything. 37 knots, entering the wave zone, so we're going to lose our opportunity for wide open throttle. I'd say she's 37, maybe 38 knots. Coming through some of my own waves in a second. Let's see if we can chop those up. Beautiful. Lovely. Dry, I note. No water on the windscreen. I think if you had wind aggressively from the side, you're going to get wet. But if you drive appropriately, if you run into the wind whenever you can, you're going to keep you and your guests dry. Utilize the lee shores whenever possible. You should do that on any open day boat, to be fair. But no drops of water anywhere across the decks or the seats aft. This is fun. This is enjoyable. The noise levels are low. Conversation is possible. And I just feel like $1 million. Maybe this is the Brazil effect. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's really, really good. So on initial acceleration, when those turbos kick in, she really does have a little bit of get up and go, but then she settles into a sensible cruising speed in those high 20s if you want it to be, or the low 20s if you want to drop the fuel consumption. It seemed to be doing around about that 100 to 130 litres until we went wide open and I saw 160 plus. But in the overall scheme of things compared to petrol, it is very noticeable because you'd be using a lot more. We'd be our Saudi Arabia's best friend with the V12s compared to these Volvos. We're just sipping it at 130 to 160. So that's all good fun. What I'm going to do from here, if I get another opportunity to run, because we've got a bit of a downwind, maybe run from here, I might turn the cameras back on and just bring you along with me in some waves, if there are still waves left over, because it also depends on the tide and what she's up to. When you get a bit of wind against tide here, it chops up a fair bit. So if we have that opportunity on the way home, I've got a flight to catch at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I've got one chance at this. If we have the opportunity, I'm going to do it. If not, I'll just see you at the end of the video. Okay, guys, I have found some nice, short, sharp little waves. We're just running downwind. They're bunched up and it's lovely. So I just thought I'd give you a minute of this, simulating your ride home after a beautiful day. So she likes a little bit of trim, a little bit of bow down at times, and she responds well to that. But as you can see, just with these following sea conditions, she's just cutting it up. Not too much noise. I did notice a little bit of a rattle from that TV going upwind, so I'm going to tell the factory about that. Maybe they can do some small adjustments to tickle that up in future. And other than that, she's pretty nice. Noise levels are low, and she just feels like a mega yacht tender right now. Just cruising along, speed registering at 27, 28 knots. Still not a lick of water over the side. I guarantee, just as I said that, I actually buried the nose into one, okay? I tell a lie. But yeah, I think as long as you drive the boat appropriately, you can keep people dry most of the time. But I do believe if you've got really strong wind from the side, you can introduce a little bit of water up and over the side. And then, just as I did, if you hammer it a little bit too hard into a steep oncoming wave, or if you're running with it and you run into the back of a steep wave, you'll introduce a little bit of water up and over, as any bow design like this will do. Very good. Just wanted to bring you that little piece. Hope that's useful. The sun is beautiful and warm here. It's beginning of summer in Brazil, so it's a wonderful time of the year. I think I'm going to get back into the city and give you some final thoughts. All right, guys, slightly different way to wrap the video today, but why not? It's a beautiful evening. We're running short of time, so I'm just going to do this on the run. Experience required, crew required, your life on board with an inboard version V44. I think it's fair to say with the right amount of training, you could be a doggone beginner and be okay with one of these boats. I don't necessarily recommend it, but with the technology that we can incorporate into this boat, with the visibility that you have, with the access to the decks, it does lend itself to someone who is a beginner to intermediate. In saying that, you're always going to do better if you're coming from another boat. If you're coming from a 35-foot day boat of some sort, you're going to very easily step into this thing. She's quite predictable, arguably maybe a little bit easier around the dock compared to the 444 version, and probably about the same with the V12s around the dock if you're going to be using your joysticks. Crew required, again, only if you need the help. It's not necessarily a boat that needs extra people to give you a hand to get in and out of the dock. Do pay attention to these higher sides. Do pay attention to what your berthing situation looks like. If you're doing a Mediterranean style berthing with fenders down both sides, it's not really a drama. If you're doing a floating finger on the side, just make sure you place the fenders or fender up your dock at home correctly. If you got vertical poles and tide, just have a think about it. Rub rail, you know, it is there, so it's possible, but it's only about that thick. So you might need to come up with some homemade solutions to assist in that, which could just be vertical softeners on your poles. Life aboard, luxurious, enjoyable, fantastic. She cuts up the chop nicely. She's comparable with a lot of the other Mediterranean style day boats in the way she performs. You can take her in the ocean, you can drive her in some bad stuff, and you will get home and be safe. Competition. There is so much for you to choose from in this part of the market. Where I think this one's going to be interesting is that it is giving you a lot of bang for your buck. It's a lot of space on deck. It is a big boat, and you can take out a lot of people if that's of interest or of need. So I think you can directly line this one up against the new Pardo 43, which looks the same as the old Pardo 43. I have to maybe spend some more time on that one to see what the differences are. The Fjord 41 XL is a fair comparison, and even the Solaris 44. And I know you're all already doing that because you guys, so many of you are talking to me in the comments or writing to me about that. Some of the boats, or one of the boats that I would say don't compare this one with, or two now, it's the Saxdor 400 and the Saxdor 460, which is coming soon. I will be filming the first test on the 460, and I've already seen the hull in the factory in Finland. That's an adventure boat. It's a different concept. They are a little bit less in terms of volume and living space on deck. So I wouldn't put one of these side to side because this is a luxury Mediterranean style day boat. That's a bit more of an adventure boat, albeit very livable, but I don't think that's the correct comparison. If you're looking at the Saxdor, compare it with an Axopar or something in that category. And this is a different level, but I suspect many of you who we're looking at perhaps the Wally Tender 43, the Maori 46, or the Windy SR 44. All of those are very, very high quality super yacht, mega yacht tenders. But this could be too, at a fraction of the price. And it will do that job. It will sleep your crew, multiple crew down here if you need, and it basically looks just as cool. I understand that those ones are at another level, but they're also at another price point. So maybe some of you are going to see some value and in the fact that you could just save a whole, maybe a brick and buy this and still get the same value out of it. So once again, you do you. I'm not trying to sell you any of these boats. I just want you to take this information and use it for what it is when you go to the boat show, when you talk to the dealers, and I hope it comes in value in some way. So, like, subscribe, share this content with your mates. Do engage as much as you can in the comments, because that's what the algorithm sees and that's what the factories see, because believe it or not, I would say only 50% of the industry actually understand what we're doing on here at YouTube. Fort Lauderdale Boat Show just wrote to me to say that I don't justify a ticket to the boat show because I'm not a real journalist, even though I get more views than the entire traditional media in Australia combined. So go figure. So I really do need your support, guys. Keep it up. I love it. And help other guys in the comments who are asking questions. If you're a boater, if you know something and I haven't had a chance to answer it, please get in there and help the other blokes, because that's what this community is all about. Next boat, something similar to this coming up next. Love you lots. Come from Brazil. See you next time.